Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm very happy to have Taylor joining me today. Hi Taylor, how are you?
I'm great, Hawken. How are you doing?
Doing really well. I'm excited to start doing these interviews. So, me and Taylor actually filmed an introduction not too long ago. I'm going to link that video down below. So, if you want to check that out to learn a little bit more about us, we're going to skip the introductions here and just hop right into it. So, Taylor, first of all, when did you study abroad and where did you go?
I went to Valladolid, Spain my sophomore year, which was spring 2019.
Any particular reason why you decided to go that time?
For the time, here at Stevens Point, we have to stay in the dorms for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was a lot easier to go my sophomore year, second semester, when I don't have to worry about subleasing an apartment or something. And honestly, I thought that the later I got into school, the harder it would be. And I just didn't think I would have as much time. So I decided this was the time to go. And I went, and I really am glad that I did that because then the year after, unfortunately, the students that got sent to Spain had to come home. So thankfully, we chose our sophomore year.
No, definitely, and that's the exact same reason why I did too. Dealing with subleasing and having someone else live in your room would definitely be a pain. So no, I recommend a lot of people go their sophomore year when they ask me when they should do it. So I know you just mentioned a little bit why, but you want to further explain why you chose Spain?
So I am a Spanish education major. So basically, I want to be a high school Spanish teacher, and a requirement for this major is going to study abroad. You can either study abroad in Mexico over the summer, which is 3 months, or go to Spain, which is that 4.5 months, I believe. And I wanted to go to Spain. I wanted to take that chance, and I'm really glad I did because it's a completely different dialect over there than the dialect we learn in school. So that's really cool. And just to go that far away and to be in Europe and travel around, I'm really glad I chose that because it was just a really great experience.
Cool. So I know a lot of people when they hear Spain, they'll think of the cities like Barcelona, Madrid, maybe even Sevilla. So tell us a little bit though about Valladolid. Why do you enjoy that city, and what's really cool about the program there?
So Valladolid is really cool because it's only an hour train ride away from Madrid, which is nice because it's kind of like kind of in the center of it all, a little bit north, but basically in the center of it all. So Madrid has an international airport to be able to travel. But what's also nice about Madrid versus Valladolid is Valladolid's a smaller town.
Hmm.
Um, I would say I felt really safe in Valladolid. Like I felt like I could be either by myself or with somebody else and walk around, and I never felt threatened or anything. And in bigger cities, I feel like it's a little bit more populated, a little bit more just people around. And in Valladolid, it was quiet. And yes, it could be fun, going on like out to dinner and stuff, but it wasn't packed, it wasn't busy, it wasn't crazy, and people were really kind.
Yeah.
So obviously they were patient with my Spanish was not great when I first went there. So they were really patient with me, and they wanted us to learn, and they're so curious about like our country and everything. And I feel like I didn't get that experience as much when I would go to Madrid for a week or the bigger cities. So it's just more of a homey feel to it.
Hmm. Going off what you just said there, you were talking a little bit about it being homey. You want to talk about where you live there? Because I know you stay with a host family. So you want to just talk about that a little bit, what that was like?
Yeah, so I stayed with a host mom, and then for the Spain program, we were paired up with somebody here
Hmm.
who was going to Spain as well. So we were lucky enough to have 14 kids who went to Spain, so we all got paired up. If you did have an odd number, then they would pair you with somebody from Eau Claire or something in that program. So yeah, I stayed with my host mom. She was amazing. She was really funny. We would wake up in the morning and go to breakfast and be all tired, and she'd be dancing around the kitchen and singing in Spanish and like telling us to dance around, and we're like, it's 8 in the morning, but we just loved her. She was so energetic and fun, and really was like a second mom to me over there.
Yeah, very cool. I'm sure that helps you get like kind of integrated too, to have someone that lives there like accept you into their home.
Right. Yeah. And to have that person from Point also is really helpful because then
Yeah.
you're not alone. And I feel like it's easier for us to try to talk with her in the beginning.
Hmm. No, definitely. I know like studying abroad seems like such a daunting task for a lot of people. And it's a lot nicer when you know that there's going to be other students in your same situation. So you kind of feel
Right.
better about it, I guess, going to another country.
Yeah. And they give us opportunities to meet that person also, which is really nice.
Hmm. So again, you studied in Spain, which meant you had to speak a lot of Spanish. You want to talk a little bit more about that too?
So when I went over to Spain, that was very scary for me.
Mhm.
I definitely would speak very quiet because I wasn't sure if I was correct. And since we were so focused on grammar here in the States, I was always making sure my grammar was correct. So people kind of told me, let loose a little bit, relax. And after about 2 months, I felt like I really could speak that language enough to communicate. And by the end of it, I felt like I could have a full blown conversation about most things. Maybe I don't know all the vocabulary, but I had the ability to explain what I was trying to say. So if I didn't know a word, if I didn't know a phrase, if I didn't really know what I was trying to say, I could find other words and explanations. And they were very patient with us. As explained to my host mom, she would give me the words, give me phrases, and I'd be like, oh, yes, it's that. And
Got
that really helped us. I feel like me and my roommate.
cool. And correct me if I'm wrong, but your classes were in Spanish too.
Yeah, everything was in Spanish. So we had 7 classes and they were all in Spanish, and then we also had to write a 10-page essay in Spanish about whatever topic we wanted. We kind of had to narrow it down to something and let our teachers know. So we had to do that. And then everything, road signs,
Hmm.
cards, the money was different. It was euros, not, you know.
What would you say are some of the differences between Spain and the US? Like some of the biggest things that you noticed just overall, not even just Valladolid, just all over in Spain, wherever you went.
Um, like I said, the apartments, so not a lot of houses unless you live in kind of like a country town, like
Mhm.
kind of like our farm area.
Yeah.
Uh, so a lot of apartments, really tall buildings, very kind of crowded in a good way. They kind of build up while we build out.
Mm.
Um, the traveling was a lot more convenient. They have trains, which were more expensive, but it was a cool way to travel.
Yeah.
Um, but you can take a bus or a train or a plane almost anywhere, and it's not that expensive. So compared to the US, when you're flying, let's say from Green Bay to Chicago, that could be however much depending on the time
Yeah.
of the year. You're not going to get that in Spain. I mean, obviously the time of the year is going to affect things, but it's going to be a lot cheaper and
Yeah.
closer. An hour flight versus however long from all around Spain and other countries too.
Hmm.
Um, cars, like people do. My host mom did have a car. Not a lot of people do though. She had a car because she would go out to those like places where they had houses because she was a realtor. So
Mm.
she would drive like 40 minutes out. But gas is really expensive over there. So she like didn't drive. Probably once a week she would use her car. And not a lot of people, like everybody walks everywhere because most things are really close.
You said people in Valladolid were pretty nice too. Was that kind of something you experienced that was a little different, or was you used to like people wise in Spain?
First, it was weird because, there's a guy who works with the foreign exchange students, international students, and he kind of said people who are from the Midwest do have a hard time adjusting at
Mm.
first because people in Spain or people in, at least in Valladolid, but it's all in all of Spain, they stare.
Oh.
And my roommate and I are like, why do they keep staring at us? Like, I get it, we're American, but like, come on, what's going on? Everybody's just staring. One time I rode the bus and we rode the bus for like 40 minutes.
Hmm.
And the whole time this woman was staring at me and my roommate was like poking me and being like, she's looking at you. And I don't know why. And I was like, what the heck? So I wanted to say something, but I was scared too, so I didn't. But we had a conversation with our kind of coordinator guy, and he's like, yeah, that's kind of a hard time. Like, they're not trying to be rude, they're just curious. Like, if you said hello, they will have a whole conversation with you.
Hmm.
And we kind of noticed, like, people don't just stop on the street and like, oh, can I pet your dog? And we had said that to one of our teachers, and she's like, yeah, they do. She's like, you just go up and say hi. And they're like, you're probably just afraid to do that because you don't know that. So we just had to adjust to, like, it wasn't as in the Midwest, it's very like smiley, like everybody's talking to each other, but you definitely had to make that first impression.
Gotcha. Okay, now we're coming towards the end here, so I just want to do a couple quick questions. What was your favorite Spanish food that you tried?
Um,
Or dessert? Doesn't have to be like a meal.
ooh, I don't know.
Some of my friends that went there always talked about tapas.
Yeah, tapas. Yeah, I really like tapas. Out of tapas, I probably really like croquetas a lot, which is like, it can be like, it's like a fried, there can be cheese and ham and different kinds of things in there. I'm trying to think of, cocido is my favorite meal. So it's going to sound gross, one of the parts, but it's like beef, chorizo, and then pig fat
Oh,
with bread. And you kind of eat it all together. And the pig fat, I was not happy about when she first put on my plate. Like, she's like, just try it and then I'll tell you what it is. And
oh,
I tried it with everything and it was really good. And she waited until I finished eating and then she told me, and I was like, okay. It was actually one of my favorite meals. It was really good. And I didn't care because it was that good.
nice. Then what was your favorite memory from studying abroad, or favorite trip, just like best experience you had?
Honestly, I loved waking up in the morning and my host mom would be dancing around to Spanish music because it really got me in like the Spanish mindset, and it just got me ready for the day, and it was really fun.
Cool. Well, we're just going to end with one last question here. Do you have any advice for anyone considering studying abroad, not just in Spain in general? Like, what would you say to them?
Don't bring as much as you think you need. You do not need that much stuff. Like, I brought 2 suitcases and you do not need that much stuff at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's for a semester or however long, month or 3 months, but do not pack that much. You're going to buy clothes there too because it's cheaper.
Well, thanks, Taylor. This was great to get to talk to you about Spain. Any final words or anything?
Nothing, just come to our info sessions and our study abroad fair October 6th, 12 to 5 p.m.
Perfect. Thanks again, guys.